What's up, everybody? It's Jeremy here. I'm ocean bound and I'm heading to Pleasure Bay. Dude, it's cold. I have standards, everyone. And I don't want you to think that like I just dropped my standards. It's just like I'm a little curious right now. I have a couple things that I want to do, and when I look at the forecast in the next like 2 weeks, there's nothing fun about it. It's like cold. So it's like below, it's just around freezing today, but later in the week, tomorrow, it's gonna be like 10 degrees colder. The thing that's a shame is that it's actually kind of windy in the next couple days. But like, who wants to be out? I don't want to be out when it's in the 20s. But what are we doing here? I'm gonna take the ML board out. I've got I could either do the 880 or the 680. I may just do the 880 just to keep things a little easier today. But the whole plan, for me at least, is to do that 120 dart stab. I'm so stoked to be able to ride that 120 dart stab. One of the things that I'm like really curious about is how is this 4.3 wetsuit, it's a Yamamoto wetsuit, how is that gonna hold up in these temperatures? I just figure if I'm only out for a little while, it's not the end of the world. You know, give me 20, 25 minutes where I'm gonna be freezing on the water, and well, it just kind of is what it is. Hold on, it's really hard for me to think. I can't think when I'm backing up. Man. All right. My hands are usually the crazy you know, factor, and so I have seen people rave about these gloves on the internet. They took like weeks to get here from like Italy, I think, but I just got them in. These are fleece lined, and the whole purpose or intent of these is that they stay dry. So I'm gonna have to fold them underneath my wetsuit. I don't know how well that seal is gonna work. I've used seals on dry suits and stuff before, but this is obviously like kind of like the opposite. So that's just kind of like a, let's give this a try and see how that works out. And then exciting thing number 3 today is I got that Vayu 5-meter wing. I really like that wing. I've been looking for a boomed surf wing. Like that's where in the last couple months, I'm looking all over and thinking about those. I heard the Duotone's coming out with like a boomed surf wing. Gong's got some surf wings I'm also interested in. For the price point, it's not that bad. Another option is this Vayu. I'd be totally stoked to be rocking this Vayu this season. And then there's F1. I haven't tried F1's boom yet, but I've seen on the internet there's some compatible sizes when it comes to using the strike boom on their wave wing, the swing. And so I don't remember off the top of my head if it happens to be one of the sizes. I'd love to get like a 4.5 meter wing, or like somewhere between a 4 and a 5 meter for my next surf wing. A 5 meter would really cover all my bases. And like if I'm surfing, I like to have power out there. I just, you know, I need it to be light and I need it to drift well. The Vayu is light and the Vayu does drift well and the Vayu does have a boom, and I don't know, everything is like kind of lining up, and I think it's kind of sexy too. So I'm leaning in that Vayu direction, but we'll see. I just don't know. It's funny, I just got to Pleasure Bay and it's down to 30 degrees here, so it's even colder by the water. So that's where we're at. Psyched but not psyched. It's not gonna be a long session. We're here to try some gloves. We're here to try a 120. We're here to rock the Vayu. Let's flip this around, go set up, and get out of here. Okay. Truth. Alright, so that's the difference. I have a little bit shaved off of mine because of an accident. I was worried or wondering if they're going to change the profile at all, but it looks like they didn't. Just take my word for it. I don't know, there's subtle differences. From what I can tell, the front edge, if you can see this, so when you line up the holes, the front edges basically line up, but the 120, I don't know, I want to say it's like it has like a 1/4 of a centimeter it comes farther back, so it's about the same, but it's different. Yeah, it's cool. It makes it so it goes out a little farther back, mostly the same design, so that means front to back it's slightly thicker in the middle. 100%, 9 psi. All right, let's get the last little bit of everything together, head on the water. Ooh, I'm not psyched. The surface of the water gets funky. It's just different when the temperature is below freezing. I don't have a leash on this board. Not the best situation, but I don't do any jumping, that's all. Sweet, here we go. Woo. Things are gonna feel different on my upper body, I can tell. Oh boy. Do love riding one-handed. No complaints here. Half an hour. I'm not freezing, my fingertips are cold. No, let's put the gear away and get warm. That's what I'm saying. I had to get the camera out because I'm like taking the screws out of my mast and the water. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is all freezing. So it's salt water, but it's freezing. It's pretty funny. It was cold. That's all crystallizing. It's cold, everyone. All right. Woo! I'm stoked. The 120 is way more user-friendly than I thought it was gonna be. I thought that 120 was just gonna feel like I had no grip or anything. Not true. And it's hard to, it depends on what you're doing. I'd say for most normal riders who are like, should I get the 120 or the 140 if they're at like the 205 or the 180? I'd say go straight to the 120. The turning on the 120, it's great. I mean, it's exactly what you think it would be. Moving on, the Vayu, it's awesome. And in fact, I love it more this session than I did last session. So the wind was basically averaging between 20 and 25 the whole time, but there were some crazy gusts out there. So in all of that craziness, the Vayu was great. I love it. I love a boom. That's the thing, guys. I'm going to a boom. But more on that Vayu soon. I will do a full review on it. And then moving on to the last part, my coldness. I was cold. I'm not gonna lie. So I have these like Oceania gloves. In general though, my hands stayed dry, but they did get cold. So they're not super thick. Not being super thick isn't a bad thing. That means that grip wise, I was good. You know, I didn't have any forearm fatigue or anything like that. And that gasket isn't tight enough, or it wasn't tight enough to give me the forearm fatigue. So in general, I like these gloves, but my fingertips were cold. Granted, now it's 30 degrees. Ice was freezing on my board. So the fact that my fingertips were cold, it doesn't surprise me. And the fact that my fingertips are cold, but my fingertips were dry, that was just really nice. It's gonna be interesting just to see, you know, how they hold up, but in general, I could be onto something here. The thing is, I don't like going out in these temperatures. I'm going out in these temperatures now only because it's gonna get colder, and I don't feel like going out next week. As we're speaking of the cold, this is a Yamamoto 4.3 hooded wetsuit by Crooked Surf. So the water temp in Boston today is 42.8 degrees Fahrenheit. That's still pretty warm. It's gonna get down to like 33, and so that's what I'm a little concerned with my current wetsuit. Was I okay on a sub-freezing day for 30 minutes on the water? Yeah, I was okay. And you know, the cool thing about the Yamamoto, it seems to cut the wind chill down a little bit. It wasn't as bad when I was in the water, the 42 degree water, but when I was up and out and riding, it was chilly in a way, but I was active, so I never got cold, but like I could feel coolness on my body. Hey, I can't complain. It's sub-freezing. So anyway, I'm stoked. Thanks so much for coming out on my session with me here at Pleasure Bay. A little scientific session, loving the dart, loving the new gloves, loving the wetsuit, loving the Vayu, loving life, loving 2025 so far. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you want to see some more of my videos and you haven't done so already, please consider clicking that subscribe button. Drop me a comment. Let me know if you've had any awesome sessions. Let me know if you're out there in the cold. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. I just love talking with you all, and with that, I hope all of you are doing well out there. I'll see you soon on the flip, and I wish you all an awesome day. Later!